Ethan and Mia were two young souls who found each other in the bustling streets of Chicago. Ethan was a tall and easygoing guy with a warm smile that instantly put people at ease. He loved to make others laugh and enjoyed going on adventures, whether big or small. On the other hand, Mia was a thoughtful and creative woman who spent her days painting and capturing the beauty she saw in the world. Her gentle nature attracted Ethan from the very first moment they met at a local art fair. He admired her passion and the way her eyes sparkled with excitement whenever she talked about her art. As they got to know each other, Ethan loved Mia's sense of understanding. When he shared stories about his day, she listened intently, always finding the right words to support him. Mia, in turn, appreciated Ethan's fun-loving spirit. He introduced her to new experiences, like hiking through the nearby woods or enjoying late-night ice cream runs. They spent countless hours talking about their dreams, goals, and what made them happy. They built a foundation of trust and shared laughter that made their bond special. Yet, like any relationship, theirs had its hurdles. As they grew closer, they both battled their insecurities. Ethan sometimes felt the sting of jealousy when Mia received attention for her art, while Mia worried if she was enough for someone as lively as Ethan. However, rather than letting these feelings push them apart, they realized that their openness and communication could help them navigate these emotions. They promised each other to face challenges together, knowing that love, patience, and understanding could help them overcome any storm. This was just the start of a journey which would test their connection and ultimately bring them closer than ever before. As the days turned into weeks, Ethan and Mia's bond deepened, but small ripples of doubt began to disturb their calm waters. Mia loved spending time with Ethan, but lately, she felt a sense of distance creeping into their relationship. It was not like Ethan to pull away, and yet, there he was, often lost in his thoughts while they were together. His laughter came less frequently, and his usual bright smile did not seem as warm as before. Ethan noticed Mia's changes as well. At first, he thought it was just a busy time for her art, as she was preparing for a small exhibition. However, he could sense something was not right. When he tried to initiate a conversation, Mia often gave short answers or avoided eye contact, causing Ethan's heart to feel heavy. He tried to approach her gently, hoping she would open up about what was bothering her. "Mia, is everything okay? You seem a little off lately," he asked one evening as they sat together in a cozy cafe. Mia stretched her hand to play with her coffee cup, avoiding his gaze. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind," she replied quietly, her voice lacking the usual spark. Ethan felt a wave of worry wash over him, but he didn't want to push her. He respected her space and decided to let her talk when she felt ready. Days turned into more days, and the emotional gap widened. Mia felt misunderstood, believing that Ethan didn't see how hard she was working or how much pressure she was feeling. At the same time, Ethan felt rejected, thinking he wasn't doing enough to support her. They had always communicated openly, but now words hovered between them like unspoken clouds. One evening, they decided to go for a walk along the lake. The sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky with beautiful colors, yet the beauty of the moment felt distant. Ethan took a deep breath and decided it was time to share his feelings as the silence tension gnawed at him. "Mia," he began, glancing at her, "I feel like you are pulling away. I want to be here for you, but I don't know how to help if you don't tell me what's wrong." His heart pounded in his chest as he watched Mia stop walking. She turned to him, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I don't want to seem weak or burden you with my problems. I'm struggling to balance my art and everything else, and it feels so hard sometimes," she confessed, her voice trembling. Ethan reached for her hands, holding them gently. "You can tell me anything, Mia. You're not a burden, we're in this together, remember? I'm here to support you, no matter what." She squeezed his hands in return, feeling comforted, yet still heavy with her own fears. They both sat down on a nearby bench, allowing the silence to settle around them. However, it didn't take long for these feelings to emerge as misunderstandings. Mia felt guilty for needing help, while Ethan wished she would lean on him more. They spoke in circles, trying to convey their emotions without fully grasping what the other was feeling. Each time Ethan would offer support, Mia could only share snippets of her struggles, failing to find the right words. And Ethan would reassure her, holding back his own doubt and confusion. The tension in the air thickened, signaling a looming challenge. The love they shared still burned bright, but their journey to clear the misunderstandings had only just begun. As the days passed, Mia's upcoming art exhibition loomed closer, bringing both excitement and anxiety. The pressure weighed heavily on her, stirring memories of past times when she struggled to showcase her work. During those moments, the fear of failure flooded her mind, creating a knot in her stomach. Despite Ethan's support and encouragement, as the show approached, she began to feel overwhelmed and insecure once again. Ethan sensed her stress, wanting nothing more than to lift her up, but he noticed how Mia had begun spending more time alone in her studio. He felt a pang of jealousy as he glimpsed her interacting with her fellow artists, sharing laughter and compliments with them. It twisted his stomach to think that he was being pushed aside, and in his heart, he wondered if he was still as important to her as she was to him. One evening, after a long day of painting, Mia returned home, exhausted but hopeful. Ethan, who had been waiting, wanted to surprise her with a cozy dinner to celebrate her hard work. However, as he watched her enter the living room, he saw that her mind was elsewhere. Instead of the cheerful reaction he anticipated, she hardly acknowledged his effort. "Mia, I made your favorite pasta," he said, forced to hide the disappointment lining his voice. Mia glanced at the dinner setting, her eyes dull, as she sighed, "I really appreciate it, Ethan. I'm just tired." She walked past him, making her way to her studio. Ethan felt frustration bubble up inside him. He wanted her to see how much he cared but felt invisible in her world of stress. As he followed her, he struggled to find the right words. "Can we talk? I want to understand what you're feeling," he urged gently, but inside, he felt a mix of sadness and irritation. Mia turned to face him, her expression tightening. "I'm trying, Ethan. I really am. But there's so much on my plate and the last thing I need is another reminder of what I might fail at." In that moment, tension thrummed in the air. Ethan felt his heart sink. "I'm not here to add to your stress. I want to help you, but I can't if you keep shutting me out," he said, his voice rising slightly. Instead of opening the door to conversation, this only pushed Mia further into her shell. She bit her lip and looked away, trying to suppress the hurt growing inside her. What she truly wanted was to express gratitude for his support while also revealing her fear of not living up to expectations. Instead, her fear took control, pushing her to withdraw even more. Days passed, and although there were moments when she would share snippets of her creation, they were mostly about her art and not the turbulent emotions gnawing at her. Her unresolved feelings swirled like a storm, unrecognized yet painfully present. Ethan contemplated the silence that wrapped around them. Each moment without connection felt like a step away from each other, fueling his own jealousy and doubts. He began to wonder if Mia's past trauma with her artwork had resurfaced, feeding her internal conflict. But no matter how he tried to address it, they remained caught in their separate worlds, disconnected yet yearning for understanding. Despite the increasing strain, small glimmers of hope appeared. Sensing Ethan's determination to support her, Mia took tiny steps towards vulnerability, sharing her worries about the art show one night. She spoke about past rejections that had left scars on her heart. As she opened up, a flicker of compassion ignited in Ethan. He couldn't help but admire her courage. Although they were still grappling with misunderstandings, there was hope for them to navigate these treacherous waters together, inch by inch, slowly building the confidence they needed to overcome their fears. The night of the art exhibition arrived, and the energy in the room buzzed with excitement. Mia stood beside her paintings, proudly displaying her work, but inside, her heart raced with anxiety. Ethan hovered nearby, determined to support her despite the turmoil that had built between them over the past week. However, as he tried to engage with friends and guests, he noticed Mia distracted, often lost in thoughts swirling around in her mind. As the evening drew on, Ethan approached her, wanting to share in her joy. "You've created something beautiful, Mia. Everyone loves your work," he said, his eyes sparkling with pride. But instead of appreciation, Mia's expression darkened. "Do you really think so?" she asked, suspicion creeping into her voice. "Or are you just trying to be supportive because I'm your girlfriend?" Ethan's heart sank at her words. Of course, I believe in you. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. The tension in the air thickened as they navigated this unexpected moment. I don't need your pity, Ethan. Mia replied sharply, frustration crackling in her voice. It feels like you only see cracks in my art, not the effort I put behind it. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. I'm not pitying you. I'm cheering for you because I care. It's not my fault if you feel insecure. The room around them began to fade, and their voices rose above the hum of laughter and clinking glasses, drawing curious glances from their friends. What part of you caring feels supportive? You act like everything is supposed to be perfect. Mia shot back, her eyes flaring with hurt and anger. Unspooled emotions tugged at her heart, and she felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. You always want to remind me that I should be something I'm not. Ethan's face flushed. That's not fair. I feel like you don't want me around unless it suits you. I thought we were in this together. As the words escaped his lips, a weight fell heavy upon him. His tone was more intense than he intended, and guilt flooded in almost instantly. Together? You don't even notice how alone I am in this. I'm drowning. You don't understand how hard this is. Mia cried, her voice breaking as the rawness of her fears spilled out. The more she spoke, the more tightly wound her emotions became, leading to the brink of an emotional explosion. It's not my fault. You keep shutting me out. I'm here, Mia. I want to support you. Why can't you just let me in? Ethan felt desperation clawing at him. He was angry and sad, wanting to reach her but feeling completely stuck. You think you can just swoop in and fix everything with a smile and a compliment? That's not how it works, she countered fiercely, her words stabbing through the air with raw intensity. For a moment, silence reigned as they both breathed heavily, standing torn between each other with only a sea of unresolved feelings filling the space. They were a tangle of passion and fear, trapped in a moment where love seemed overshadowed by confusion and hurt. As music continued to play and guests mingled around them, the intensity of their argument simmered just beneath the surface, leaving a crack in their once strong bond. Both were frightened, not only of each other but of the possible fracture that loomed. In that fiery exchange, they touched the very essence of their relationship, revealing the fragile heart of love tested by misunderstanding. After the fiery confrontation at the exhibition, the atmosphere between Ethan and Mia felt as if it had been pulled taut like a wire ready to snap. Later that night, in the comforting stillness of his apartment, Ethan sat on the edge of his bed. Shadows pooled in the corners of the room, mirroring the tangled thoughts in his mind. He replayed their argument again and again, his heart heavy, recognizing the raw emotions swirling within him. Ethan picked up his journal, a habit he had cultivated over the years to help him sort through his feelings. He began to write. I feel lost, he penned, letting the words flow without judgment. I wanted to be her rock, but it feels like I'm slipping away. Mia seems so distant sometimes. It scared me tonight seeing her hurt. With every scribble, clarity began to wash over him. He reflected on how he had allowed his feelings of jealousy and frustration to shape his words during their argument. I love her, but I need to be more patient. I should listen more, he wrote, realizing that his reactions had not helped but pushed her further away. What if I end up losing her? Across town, Mia sat curled up on her couch, the soft glow of a lamp casting warmth against the evening chill. She held a steaming mug of tea, its warmth soothing her frayed nerves. The echoes of their words still stung in her heart, but it had gone quiet inside her. She knew she needed to process the whirlwind of emotions sweeping through her. She, too, reached for her journal. Writing was her form of therapy. Tonight was chaotic. I lashed out at the person I love most, and I felt so vulnerable, she wrote, aware that her pain stemmed not only from the pressure of the exhibition but from deeper wounds. Ethan has always been my biggest supporter, and I have pushed him away. Mia's thoughts soon turned to her past struggles, feelings of inadequacy surfacing once more. I need to learn to share my fears instead of hiding them. What if he can't handle the truth about my battles? With each stroke of her pen, Mia outlined her feelings, a blend of sadness, realization, and a longing to mend their bond. She sighed deeply. We both fear failure, but we can't turn against each other. If we keep this up, will we lose what we have? As they separately ventured down this path of reflection, both Ethan and Mia began to see the moments that had led them to this point. They shared a similar fear of losing each other, unable to notice how that very fear had shaped their reactions and pushed them into their shells. They recognized how misunderstanding had built walls between them, making it harder to communicate, to be vulnerable, to create the intimacy they both longed for. Ethan flipped through the pages of his journal, reading back over what he had written, each realization pinpointing his desire to be a source of strength for Mia rather than a cause of strain. The fear of losing her gave rise to a profound moment of insight. We need to communicate our truth instead of battling through silence, he thought, determination sparking within him. Meanwhile, Mia detailed the vulnerability she often shunned for fear of being seen as weak. In doing so, she realized that by not sharing her true self, she was creating her own distance from Ethan. I have to trust him, and I need to stop pushing him away, she realized, a newfound clarity glimmering in her heart. In their separate corners of the world, they each confronted efforts to mend their relationship, a reality where love did not simply shield them from difficulty but demanded honesty, introspection, and communication. Facing the chance of losing such an important connection ignited a fire within them to fight and strive for something deeper, a turning point toward understanding instead of conflict. The following day brought a new light, illuminating the shadows that had crept into Ethan and Mia's relationship. All night, they had reflected on their emotions, and the next morning felt like a fresh start, a chance to mend their wounds. Ethan woke up resolute. Determined to reach out, he could no longer let pride stand between him and Mia. He picked up his phone and took a deep breath, typing out a message. "Mia, can we please talk? I miss you," he sent, hoping that his sincerity would smooth over the tension that lingered between them. His heart raced while he waited for her response, filled with a mix of hope and worry. Within minutes, his phone buzzed with a reply. "Can we meet later? I think we really need to talk." Her short response was promising, and he felt a wave of relief wash over him. Later that afternoon, they met at a small park near their homes, a familiar place that held many memories for them. The trees swayed gently in the wind, and the soft chirping of birds created a peaceful backdrop for the difficult conversation ahead. As they sat on a bench under the shade, the silence felt both comforting and tense. Ethan turned to Mia, feeling nervous but ready to share. "Mia, I'm really sorry for how I spoke to you the other night," he began, his voice steady yet gentle. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I felt angry and confused, but I see now that it was wrong to take it out on you. You deserve better." Mia looked into his eyes, reading the sincerity in his gaze. "I'm sorry too," she replied, biting her lip as she fought back tears. "I let my feelings overwhelm me, and I shut you out instead of letting you in. I was scared of opening up about my struggles. I feared that you would see me as weak." Ethan nodded, understanding coursing through him. "I want to know you, all of you, the struggles and the victories. I care, and I need you to talk to me, even when it feels difficult." Her admission ignited something warm between them, bridging the gap that had seemed so wide just a short time ago. Mia felt the courage swell in her heart as she spoke. "Maybe we should think about seeking help. I've read about couples therapy, and it seems like it could help us communicate better. I want to learn how to express myself without fear." Ethan considered her words and felt a weight lift from his chest. "I think that could be a great idea. It has been hard for us to figure everything out on our own. Hearing from someone else might give us the tools we need." As they shared their realizations, they began to smile. A new understanding sparked a change in their dynamic. It was as if they could finally breathe again, their fears losing some of their grip. "I found this book on relationships," Mia added, her voice lightening as she continued. "It talks about communication, and maybe we can read it together." Ethan grinned, energized by her suggestion. "That sounds perfect. We'll do this together, all the way, book in hand." In that moment, they both realized the truth, that their relationship was worth fighting for. They had faced the storm and decided to build a new foundation. The steps they took that day created a turning point. They had both said the words that needed to be said, and in doing so, they found common ground in their vulnerabilities. As they left the park, hand in hand, Ethan felt more connected to Mia than ever. They were both determined to move forward, equipped with new tools to communicate openly, and it felt promising. They no longer saw their struggles as a burden but as a pathway to deeper intimacy and understanding, rekindling the love that had always been there beneath the surface. Together, they started this new chapter, confident that they could handle the challenges ahead. After their heartfelt conversation at the park, Ethan and Mia embarked on a journey of rebuilding their relationship. They felt a renewed warmth between them, yet the road ahead was not without its challenges. As they began to implement the changes they had discussed, they quickly discovered that old habits didn't fade easily. They arranged a weekly check-in session, a time dedicated to sharing their feelings, hopes, and concerns. On a sunny Saturday morning, they sat on the living room floor, surrounded by pillows and cups of steaming coffee. Ethan smiled at Mia, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Okay, let's start," he said, taking a deep breath. "I want to be more open and really listen to you." When Mia began to share, he focused on her words, something he had been eager to improve. "I appreciate that, Ethan," Mia replied, feeling both embraced by his attention and slightly anxious about being open. "I want to share everything with you, even if it's uncomfortable. I just hope you won't get upset." Ethan nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude as he observed her efforts. "I promise I won't. Your feelings are important, too." But as Mia launched into her thoughts about her art and the exhibition, she felt the familiar tightness in her chest resurfacing. "I still worry that no one will like my work, and it paralyzes me sometimes. I want to be more confident, but doubt creeps in." Her voice was quiet, and she hesitated, gauging Ethan's reaction. "I get it, and that feeling of doubt is normal," Ethan replied, attempting to encourage her. "But you know, I think your art is fantastic. I believe in you." His sincere words made her feel valued, yet she was aware that she needed to cultivate more self-belief, a task that was harder than it seemed. That weekend, they made a plan to revisit the artwork that had brought Mia joy in her creative process. They packed snacks and set off to a nearby gallery together. Yet, even in the excitement of the trip, old habits nipped at their heels. As they strolled among the colorful paintings, Ethan tried to engage her in conversation about the pieces hanging before them. "Look at how this artist uses color," he said, trying to inspire a discussion. But instead of a lively exchange, Mia tightened her grip on the picnic basket, her mind only partially present. "Yeah, it's nice," she murmured, glancing around without much enthusiasm. Ethan sensed her distance and fought the urge to feel dejected. Instead, he reached for another way to connect. "Mia, what is it about your art you love most?" he asked, prompting her gently. With some prodding and after a moment of silence, she finally opened up about a piece she had been working on. "I love bringing emotions to life on the canvas," she admitted tentatively. "But I just feel so inadequate sometimes." Ethan wanted to leap in with reassurances but knew she needed encouragement rather than empty affirmations. He took a breath and simply said, "That's a powerful feeling to express. I'm here to listen, not to judge." Some of their conversation flowed effortlessly while other moments fell flat. They confronted awkward silences when Mia would withdraw inwardly or when Ethan struggled to let her talk without jumping in with solutions. Yet, each time they floundered, they came back, determined to break through the patterns that had brought them so much confusion before. As the weeks passed, they started recognizing small victories, an unexpected embrace, a shared laugh over silly moments, or the honesty of vulnerable feelings laid bare. But there were instances of frustration when Mia still felt the urge to retreat, fearing exposure. Ethan worked tirelessly to create a safe space, recognizing that some days would be easier than others. Through these ups and downs, both partners slowly adapted and embraced the work that lay ahead. They learned that vulnerability and open communication were not one-time solutions. This was an ongoing process, filled with hesitance, but also sprinkled with hope. The growing bond between them felt real and genuine, anchoring them in the understanding that every bit of effort was worth it for the love they cherished. As the weeks passed, Ethan and Mia slowly weaved the lessons they had learned into the fabric of their everyday lives. They found new rhythms in their routines, sharing laughter over breakfast, exchanging sweet notes, and sparking conversations during their evening walks. Each moment they spent together served as a thread that tied them closer, unraveling feelings of fear that once held them apart. One evening, they decided to have a cozy night at home. Ethan's cooked one of Mia's favorite meals, creamy pasta topped with fresh basil. The smell filled the room, filling them with warmth and anticipation. As they sat down to eat, the atmosphere felt light, an almost magical air surrounding them. This is amazing, Ethan," Mia exclaimed through a mouthful, her eyes sparkling. Eagerly, she took another bite. He smiled, invigorated by her delight, and realized how nature of their time together had shifted so dramatically. Each bite of food, each playful comment became an unspoken promise of togetherness, a solid foundation they had diligently built. Later that evening, after cleaning up, they cuddled on the couch with a blanket draped over their laps. A movie flickered in the background, but Mia sensed that there was something deeper they needed to discuss. It was time for a heart-to-heart, and she could feel the warmth and safety surrounding them, enough to allow her vulnerabilities to emerge. "Ethan," she began softly, pulling her fingers across the material of the blanket. "I've realized something important about our relationship." She hesitated for a moment, the feelings swirling in her chest, weighing heavily in the air. "Go on." "I'm listening," Ethan encouraged, his tone calm and patient. "I feel different now, like when I talk to you, I can really be myself. I'm no longer hiding parts of me." She let out a breath, her heart racing with the honesty of her confession. "Remember how afraid I was to share my struggles?" Ethan's expression softened. "I remember. But it feels like those fears have less power over you now. You open up so much more freely." Mia nodded, encouraged by his understanding. "It's because I know you're here for me, and that we can talk through anything. Even when things get tough, I don't feel alone anymore." Moved by her words, Ethan took her hand and squeezed it gently. "You're right. I can openly share too. I've learned to be more patient and understanding than before. It's how I can support you better." They embraced in a moment of deep connection, each of them feeling the reassurance of knowing the other truly cared. In that cocoon of warmth, Mia felt the weight of vulnerability wash away. She believed again in the love they shared. "Mornings used to be hard for me," she continued, a smile creeping onto her face. "But now, they feel exciting. I love waking up together, sharing coffee, and even talking about silly jokes." Ethan chuckled, remembering the silly banter they had developed over breakfast tables in the morning light. "I love it too. Our mornings have brought us closer. It's like we're creating our own little world together." Mia beamed at him, realization dawning within her soul. "It's a safe place, isn't it? I think we've created our own home of understanding." "That's absolutely true," Ethan replied, feeling joy bubbling up inside. "No matter how tough things may get, we'll face them together. It's a team effort." In this moment, something shifted within them, a clarity, a shared commitment not only to each other but also toward the journey they were undergoing together. Their thoughtful conversations, gentle laughter, and present moments became the foundation for a more authentic emotional connection. With the exchange of hopes and dreams, they felt soaked in tranquility. The previous darkness began to evaporate as they embraced the beauty of vulnerability and the power of the lessons learned. They might still encounter challenges, but the emotional safe haven they had built transformed their relationship into something resilient and rewarding, one that would allow them to face the future hand in hand. As the leaves began to turn golden with the crispness of autumn, Ethan and Mia found themselves embracing the season not just as a change in the weather, but as a celebration of the growth they had achieved together. Months had passed since their heartfelt conversations, and both of them felt new energy radiating through their relationship. Mia, who had once been weighed down by her fears and insecurities, had taken significant strides in her journey as an artist. With newfound confidence, she prepared for another exhibition, one that displayed her true self and artistry. This time, she welcomed the challenge, no longer paralyzed by doubt. She often found Ethan by her side, encouraging her and reminding her just how capable she was. On the day of the exhibition, the gallery was flush with excitement. Mia stood in front of her artwork, admiring each piece as they drew visitors in. Her heart pounded with anticipation, but it was no longer fear that gripped her, it was a sense of pride. Not only for her work, but for the shared journey that had brought her to this moment. Ethan, as her biggest supporter, beamed as he watched her. He had learned throughout their journey that love meant stepping back when necessary, giving her space to shine without overshadowing her brilliance. He approached her and gently took her hand. "You've come so far, Mia. I am so proud of you." She smiled, warmth swelling in her chest. "Thank you for believing in me, Ethan. I wouldn't be here without your love and support." Their eyes locked, and in that moment, everything they had experienced together fell into place. The struggles, the arguments, the healing, each had brought them closer as a couple, revealing layers of each other that they had been too afraid to show before. As evening fell, the gallery began to fill with visitors, lively conversations, and laughter bouncing off the walls adorned with Mia's art. One of the gallery's curators approached them, her expression glowing with delight. "Mia, your work is incredible. I really see the depth of emotion in what you've created. It's breathtaking." Mia felt her cheeks heat up with pride as she answered, "Thank you so much. That means a lot." She turned to Ethan and saw him smiling at her, a testament to how far they had come together. After the exhibition ended, they strolled through the park on their way home. The warm glow of street lamps illuminated their path, reminiscent of the light that had begun to shine in their hearts. "What a night!" Mia exclaimed, feeling invigorated. "I can't believe how many people connected with my art." Ethan laughed softly, nodding in agreement. "You shared so much, Mia. Your vulnerability touched everyone. You showed them who you truly are." As they continued their walk, Mia stopped to look at him, a serious look crossing her face. "I think we should take this next step together," she said, almost shyly. "I want to create a collaborative piece. A blend of your photography and my painting. It could symbolize everything we've gone through, the light we've found." Ethan's heart soared at her suggestion. "I love that idea. The piece could tell our story, the journey of our growth together. It will be a beautiful representation of us." In that moment, they embraced, feeling a sense of unity, knowing they each had a place, a role in their shared life. Their past hardships had forged a stronger bond, one rooted in love, communication, and unwavering support. As they returned home, hand in hand, a serene sense of closure washed over them. They had turned their challenges into stepping stones, allowing their relationship to flourish. The future felt bright and full of possibilities, artistic collaborations to explore, heartfelt memories to create, and a commitment to stay open and vulnerable with one another. Mia squeezed Ethan's hand tightly, feeling an overwhelming sense of hope. Together, they had become the best versions of themselves, not only as individuals, but as a couple ready to face anything that lay ahead.